go. Is that an assist? Do we call that an assist? I think that's an assist. Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for having us. We're excited to be here. I spent 25 years representing professional athletes before we started Athletes for Hope. I will tell you that in 99% of the time when athletes retire, they sort of chill out, right? Kick their feet up, they relax, take some time off, try to figure out what they want to do. That's not what's going on here, is it, girl? Seems like you're doing exactly the opposite. Seems like you're running harder than you were running ever, meeting with some pretty amazing people that are influential, impactful, great thinkers, innovators. Tell us about it. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on in your life, why, what the goal is. Help us understand.
I need the mic. Well, I think there's another one over there. If you need help turning that on, I'm right here. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. It's always really fun to come and talk to almost a different demographic. Everybody in this room, you guys are thinkers, innovators of your generation. And I think it's so important that you guys know how thankful I am to be among people who are like-minded and who have other-mindedness at the forefront of their minds. So for me, thank you guys first and foremost for being you and being here. And to answer your question, the real reason why I didn't really take much time off, and this is a true story, is when I was playing, I almost felt like, everything was taken care of for me. I had health insurance and access to whatever doctors that I needed. And when I retired and I turned the page of my career and I looked back and was thinking about big picture, I'm writing a book right now, so I'm not doing nothing. And I'm doing a lot of other things. But the book process has been very cathartic, and I've gone back throughout the time, and it's made me realize how unequal and how unfairly we were being treated. And for so long, I was just kind of happy to be there. And then I became a leader. And then I started to fight for more rights for our team through contract negotiations. But at what point do you stop and say, you know what, enough is enough? I now have been a part of a team that played in the 2015 World Cup, and we were the most watched soccer match ever to be played and aired in the United States. Ever. And so when you look at it and you think about, okay, well, why are we not getting treated the same? Why are our salaries less? Why are we not getting the same kind of opportunities as our counterparts? And this isn't this is not entirely a gender discrimination thing. But for me, I got angry. I got really, really angry. And so the weeks following my retirement game, I just started to think, like, this is not okay anymore. And I think that there's a lot of push and movement for gender equality and the inequity of it all. But nobody is really stepping up to the plate going, okay, jump on my back, I'll take you guys for a ride. Because I'm not scared, I'm strong enough to carry a lot of people, a lot of weight. And somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it, and somebody has to have a platform and the influence to get people to listen. And so I had my agent call every CEO basically in the top 100 club. And I've met with great people, I've met with politicians, I've met with musicians and entertainers and movie stars, and they're all of the same mind that, yeah, something needs to happen, but we don't know how to do it. So I'm gonna figure out how to do it. And that's my goal. And coming and talking to you folks, and obviously you guys have different missions among yourselves, But those missions are equally as important, because if you're trying to help other people who are less fortunate as you or less fortunate from the rest of the world, and they might actually call themselves a minority, it's all of our jobs to give whenever we can. And some people actually turn it into a profession, like I'm trying to. If you're passionate enough about something and you want something to change bad enough, you'll probably figure out a way to do it, number one. And number two, you'll find a way to make it an income from it. And I think that that's really important. Do something that you're passionate about. Find a dream that you love to do. Make sure it helps people along the way. And if you can do that, I guarantee you're going to have the best job in the world.
So, two thoughts. One, when an athlete decides to reach out to the likes of Hillary Clinton, Tim Cook, Sheryl Sandberg, and those folks say, "We'd love to meet you," that's saying something about you, right? That's not just them being a nice person. There's something about what you're doing and the passion that you're bringing to the table that they're saying, if we can partner with you and bottle that, maybe we can figure that out together.
Yeah.
And so the head that used to be used to be an amazing talent on the soccer pitch is now being used in an arena that may have more lasting impact than you ever dreamed on the soccer pitch.
Yeah, I think that I was a part of something so special and big picture, bigger than myself for so long that, like, where do you go from there, you know? And, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go change the world. Okay. So I've been meeting with these great people, beautiful minds, beautiful hearts, and like you said, influential people that have pull and that could actually move the needle in a drastic way. And there's general consensus that something needs to change, not just from a business perspective, but just culturally. And I like challenges. I'm not scared. And I think that the information that I've gathered through all of these meetings and the excitement that these people have around this issue is something that makes me even more passionate and more excited, because it's relevant, not just 10 years from now, but it's relevant right now, and something does need to change. And, you know, of course, you know, meeting Tim Cook was amazing, and Sheryl Sandberg and Hillary and all this, but they also know that they've got a lot of stuff going on in their world, and it's up to the rest of us to impassion ourselves and empower ourselves to be the next Sheryl Sandberg, to be the next Hillary Clinton. And that's something that I found so important, that all of the people, all of the great minds that I've spoken to, it's that it's not just about them and how can I help you. It's, okay, how can I help you become the next me? And that's how we get better. That's how we grow as people and evolve. And I try to do that on the soccer field with my teammates, leaving the team and retiring. I want the team to be better than I ever made it. And those women have to have the competitiveness and the drive and the love and the passion that I had times 10, because evolution, we all have to be bigger, we all have to be stronger, we all have to be more powerful than we ever thought possible.
And you actually, even as a soccer player, you sort of evolved. I mean, later in your career, you played slightly different positions, did different things. You did whatever it took to help the team win.
Yeah, that's what's called being a leader. Sometimes you have to position yourselves differently. Sometimes you have to take a little bit of a back seat to let those that are younger, that may not have the same kind of experience, to push them forward to be their great selves. Every record that I broke, I will be upset if they don't ever get broken, because that means what I did actually wasn't that influential. What I wanted to do, what I hope to have done, is inspire the next generation to not be like me, but to be way better than me. And that's why, you know, that Gatorade ad that happened in and around my retirement game, I really do believe that the forget me quote and that belief system is so lost in our culture and in our world today, because it's always now, well, look at me, look at what I've done, hear me roar. And it's like, no, that is not how we grow and evolve in the direction, in my opinion, that not just our country, but our world needs to be taking. There's too much selfishness and not enough selflessness that's going on. And I think that some of our issues can totally be dealt with, especially this equality thing. You know how many dollars it costs to treat somebody equal? Zero.
Yeah.
Think of that. It costs $0 to treat somebody with love, kindness, compassion, and respect. And that, for me, is mind-boggling. I'm going to work until I'm gone from this great planet to make sure that every person on this planet has equal opportunity and has equal rights to do whatever they want.
So folks, what Athletes for Hope does is we educate professional Olympic and collegiate athletes about the importance of community service, and then we give them the tools to go out in communities and make a difference. We literally connect them to causes. And we do that by conducting a series of exercises. They're fun, they're interactive. The very first workshop, literally 10 years ago, we ever did was with the women's national soccer team. Abby was part of that team, a big part of that team. She's actually been through 2 different workshops. During the workshop, we pose what we call an agree-disagree. And the agree-disagree says, the more famous of an athlete you are, the bigger the impact you can have charitably, okay? And the athletes can go to the left side of the room if they agree, the right side of the room if they disagree, or they can be in the middle. About 70 to 80% typically will go to the agree side, and they'll say, if you're LeBron James, if you're Kobe Bryant, if you're famous, you have millions of Twitter followers, people know who you are, you send out one tweet, you reach millions of people, you have a huge impact. Abby sat there quietly and waited. And when we got to the disagree side, she stood up and she looked at her teammates and she said, look, every one of you guys is well known somewhere, okay? And if I go back to Rochester, New York, and I meet with 10 kids from my hometown, and I drill deep depth versus breadth with those kids, and I talk to them about staying in school, staying off drugs, being an important contributor to their community, the lasting impact I can have with those 10 kids may be just as important as the broader impact that a famous athlete can have. That stuck with us for 10 years. I've recited that story 300 times because what it did was it allowed us to reduce the barrier to entry. It said to 90% of athletes who are not famous, you can do this. You don't need to be LeBron James to make a difference. It started, first time we've had this conversation in 10 years was 5 minutes ago before we walked in here. It started with a spontaneous reaction to a question about mattering. So, do you still feel the same way, and how has that point of view sort of impacted you?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I'm an open book. Listen, I'm the person that when I'm asked a question like that, I am a depth thinker, and I think that there's answers to all problems, there's answers to all questions, but the truth is that really is the truth. And whether you have 10 million followers on your social media platforms or 4, who's to say that those 4 followers or those 4 people that you're sitting having a conversation with, talking about whatever issues you're talking about, who's to say that those 4 people can't be the next Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, you know? Who's to say that those 4 people won't be the next president? I think that we pigeonhole ourselves thinking that more is better, and I think that quality is better than anything. So be mindful of what you say and who you say it to. But for me, real philanthropic work comes from the heart, and you can't fake it. You can't be like, oh yeah, I raise funds for nothing but nets, and not be excited about it. Like, there's something that has to move you to impassion yourself, to be brave, and to help people. And in order to help people, it doesn't matter if it's 1 million or if it's 1, Because in my opinion, if one person leaves a room that I'm in feeling inspired, feeling better about themselves, feeling that they can be more, that to me matters. That to me is the greatest gift that you can give somebody, to empower their own self, period.
So we look out at a room full of nothing but Nets champions, right? I mean, these people embody passion. They're here from all over the place because they've, at many of them, a young age, have taken on something that matters to them. You have become a role model on many levels, but certainly as a philanthropist and as a thinker and as an innovator, you've done it, and it seems like you're on a journey that I'm so excited to see continue. I can't even begin to tell you. What advice might you have for them as they're on their own journeys? And they don't have 3 million followers. They're not playing professional sports. They can't get in front of CEOs. But what they're doing matters as well.
I would say two things. Number one, why can't you get in front of CEOs? Why not?
Sure.
So when people pose a challenge to me, my very first, I am a disagreeable kind of person because I like to find other ways. I like to find unique ways. I don't flow the same way people flow in rivers. Like I kind of am that one fish swimming upstream a lot. And it's because I have been a minority in my life, and I do know what it feels like to feel less than. And I want to make sure that nobody else feels that way. So if I'm swimming upstream the opposite way, and I see other people doing it, I can help. And if they're having struggles or issues, I can be somebody that can help them. But don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something, ever. Because I think that that's BS. If you want something and you want it bad enough, and you work hard at doing it, right? Nothing's given, and make sacrifices for it, you will be able to achieve whatever dream you want to achieve in your whole life. And the other thing is you have to have a plan. And don't mimic your plan or your life after somebody else, because real happiness and real success is making it uniquely your own. So don't do or try to follow my footsteps. Yeah, I'm going to blaze a path right now that's going to leave a huge wake that people are going to follow me no matter what. But I want those people to follow me in their way and branch off and do their thing. That's real leadership. It's not somebody blazing a path and hoping the whole world follows them. It's somebody blazing a path and hoping the rest of the people who follow them do something that helps the world even more than they ever thought possible.
You guys got that? Okay. So we're going to open this up for questions in just a second, but I'm guessing there are also a bunch of soccer fans in the room.
Are there?
Yeah? So with the Rio Olympics right around the corner,
Yeah.
just give us your 2 cents for the U.S. team heading into Rio. What can we be looking for? What can we expect? What are your thoughts?
Gold.
Yeah.
Why not? Gold. That's what I expect. I have high expectations, and I know that the girls all do, the ladies all do. They're actually playing right now in a game. Anybody know the score? Good. You guys are listening.
Yeah, appreciate that.
But it's going to be awesome to watch, and I think it'll be really interesting to see it kind of all come to fruition, to make sure that those stadiums get built. And, obviously this Zika virus is cause for concern for some of the athletes. But it'll be fun to not, although it is more stressful. I watched them play the other day in the game that if they didn't win, they didn't go to the Olympics. And my blood pressure was through the roof. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to be as a fan. I'm totally in utter support of all of them. And in my opinion, I know that they're going to do everything they can. But the standard's high. So my expectation is for them to be on that top podium, listening to our anthem, bringing home hardware. Right. That's the color gold.
All right. So, folks, we only have a couple minutes. I think we're actually a couple minutes over, but with your permission, Chris, we'll just keep going. Amongst your champions in the room, do you guys have questions for Abby?
Yes, I love brave ones. I love them. Stand up, say your name, and ask your question.
Hi, my name is Josue Nunez, and me and Topher came from Holland, Michigan. We play varsity soccer, and I had a question for you. What was your favorite goal you've ever scored?
Ooh. I think that I get this question a bunch, and I think that I've settled on the 2011 World Cup goal against Brazil. And it's not because of the dramatic and craziness. Like, I don't really remember it. I like blacked out, I think. Like something like I was so excited, and I couldn't believe that we actually got that chance, and we were able to put it away the way that we did. But the impact that it had, so that's why it's kind of my favorite goal. I did score a scorpion goal. So I dove, and the ball somehow went over my head, and I kicked my feet up, and it went off my heels. I did. It's from college. There's video of it. That might be my most ridiculous goal. The header is probably the most impactful, maybe my favorite. All right.
Hi, I'm Davina. My question for you is, why nothing but nets and why malaria?
Good question. I actually went to Africa 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago now, and I didn't even know what it was. I had no idea. I didn't even know that I would need to be sleeping in a mosquito net for my own safety. I figured it out really fast when I had to go to the doctor and get all the immunizations and whatnot to go down there. And after learning about it over the course of the week that I was there, I was struck, And all the good people in this room that you guys fight for different causes, or you actually raise funds for Nothing But Nets to save the lives of children and adults alike around the world. To me, it's a win-win-win to be a part of an organization that literally is saving lives. There may not be something better, in my opinion. And for Nothing But Nets and the Gates family to invest a lot of their own money and time and influence and reach, that is important too, because I think that there's so many organizations out there that almost fight for the same cause, and it's almost like you lose money, you lose some resources because you're paying for people to have all these jobs and the infrastructure, that if we all just kind of combined our issue, which is a lot of them are the same, we would probably affect more positive change in that way. So I don't know, I think that it's important that I from the get-go, I didn't want to start a foundation on my own. I wanted to attach myself to already stand up in existing foundations, because I find that there's more actual work that gets done that way.
Yeah, I mean, just so you guys have a sense for it, as an organization, we discourage 99% of athletes from starting their own foundations for exactly that reason. There's great organizations like Nothing But Nets that are doing great work. So we encourage athletes to discover what they care about, right? And then connect to causes that are doing good work. Yep. Couple more questions?
Yeah, in the back, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kritika Singh, and I'm from Virginia, so a 10-minute ride over. And I wanted to ask you what you think is the biggest obstacle for malaria eradication today. Do you think it's not the prevalence of nets, insufficient research, the government? What do you think?
I mean, all of the above, but I think the biggest one at the end of the day for me is just money. And how do we get the money funded into the right places, the right organizations that can actually affect the most change? You can talk about policy, because I'm a product of Title IX. I'm a byproduct of Title IX. So policy was enacted in 1972, a law for women and men to be treated fairly by federally run and funded institutions. And so you fast forward 30 years, and here I stand as a person who benefited from that. So all of them matter, and policy is going to matter for sure. Money is going to matter. Where we put the money. So organizations like Nothing But Nets is so important, because they're going to take care of all that overhead and the infrastructure part, but it's just raising the funds in order to effectively get the policy, in order to effectively get the nets to the kids and to save lives in kind.
Okay, we'll take one more question if there's one in the audience. There's a bunch in the audience. One, go over here.
Yeah, she said yes.
Hi, I'm May. I'm from LA. I was wondering, what are the most important things you've learned throughout your soccer career that are helping you with your current ventures today?
Oof. So I got my first cell phone when I was 22, and that's late, right? Now kids are getting them at like 10. And I think one of the most valuable things that I've learned, because oftentimes we'll sit at round tables at our meal rooms, and nowadays some of the younger players are just, they're just on their phone, and they might be researching something, I don't know. But what we're losing is that human interaction. So my advice, more than any piece of advice, I could give you all the business tips and what to say when you're on stage and how to be and all that stuff. But we need to look up. We need to get off of our phones and dedicate yourself and input a schedule of time that you'll be on your phone. And make sure that you're not around 10 people sitting around a table who are all talking. I find that the connection, it will get lost. We will lose it some way, somehow, if we don't challenge each other to look up. So if you're at a dinner table and your friend pulls their phone out because they've been asked a question and they don't know the answer, and they're gonna Google it to find out the answer to be a part of the conversation, encourage them to, hey, put your phone down, let's talk this out. Let's debate this. If you disagree, let's figure this out, And at the end, if there's no resolution or no conflict resolution, then, at home, Google it so that inspires another conversation. And so I think that our generation, the millennial generation, you guys get a lot of crap for being on your phone all the time and not, being present and being entitled. I don't care about any of that, because it's up to every individual, it's up to every adult to remind ourselves, hey, get off your phone, we're at dinner. That's rude, Or if you're on your phone and you're doing something great, no problem. But it's a time and a place. There's a time and a place for everything. And I don't know, I just think that that's such a valuable lesson. Just look up, and we gotta encourage each other. And you can do it in a way that's not rude. Just be like, hey, I want to have a conversation. I don't want you to be on your phone, because eventually what's going to happen is we're all going to be sitting at a table, looking at our phones, talking to each other, and not actually looking at each other. That's where we're headed. That scares me. It scares me a lot.
So, when I think back on the last 45 minutes, it almost feels like a series of life lessons. I'm not sure that's what we intended.
It just happens.
It
I'm
just
sorry.
sort of happened.
I'm on this tour of speaking, and it's I don't know how I all these bullet points and just the stuff that just comes out of me. But I believe I'm in a room full of thinkers and innovators, and so it's your guys' gift to me. You make me feel this way. You impassion me and empower me to want to be somebody that you could look up to and be proud of, that represented your country for a bunch of years playing soccer. I played soccer and I'm now an influencer. That boggles my mind. It really does. So if you're sitting there and you have a wish and you don't know what you want to do with your life, you don't know what path you're going to take, I'm telling you, I came from a small town in Rochester, New York, and you can do anything that you want. You really, really, really can. And so thank you for impassioning me today and giving me that gift, because not often enough do we thank each other. And I think it's really important that you guys feel that I'm appreciative and the responsibility that I take on moving forward in the rest of my career and the rest of my life. I will remember this, and I will remember all the experiences that I have leading into whatever venture I take next. So thank you guys very, very much.
So we need to return the favor. So this was a treat. So on behalf of the Nothing But Nets champions, on behalf of Nothing But Nets, and the United Nations Foundation, thank you. I cannot think of a better role model and representative of Athletes for Hope, literally not one to sit here with. So we're proud of you. You make us proud as an organization. We're thrilled, and I think I can speak for everybody in the room, to watch this journey and learn from it. So congrats, Abby.
Thanks, you guys.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for following us on Instagram at Nothing But Nets Official. Abby, as our inspiring keynote, is going to take our inaugural photo. So everyone get in, smile.